Hello everyone and welcome to the third episode of DraftKings, the only podcast that gives you all the top level limited information you could ever need. I'm Shyler and with me today, as always, is Tyler. How you doing?
Pretty good. What are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So today we're going to talk about the experiences that both me and Tyler had
On release day yesterday.
Yeah, on our release weekend drafts. But first we, as always, have to open a pack and talk about what would be the first pick in the pack. Today's pack is an Oath of the Gatewatch pack, which we had left over from yesterday. So
starting next week, we're gonna be using random packs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should next week. We should be rolling
different packs
for different packs.
Mm-hmm. And we'll be talking about different things too.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's start off with the commons.
Okay, we have them on screen. The first one is Cultivator Drone. It is 2 generic and a blue, devoid, 2/3. You can tap it to add a colorless mana to your mana pool and spend this mana only to cast colorless spells, activate colorless abilities of a permanent, or play a cost that contains colorless. Good mana fixing for the colorless mana symbol.
And 3 mana 2/3 is not too bad of stats either.
It's a good body. It's a solid body.
It blocks pretty decent compared to a lot of smaller creatures, and not too bad.
And then there is Brute Strength. That is 1 and a red. Instant. Target creature gets +3/+1 and gains Trample. It's a lot like Sheer Drop, but a different ability.
Now, wasn't this in one of the in an older set? I think it was, wasn't it? Like it reminds me of like Trumpet Blast or something like that.
Sure Grip was in, or Sure Strike or something like that was in Battle for Zendikar.
Yeah,
gave +3/+0 and First Strike. That's the card that I was comparing it to, but
yeah, I thought there was
similar to that. Trumpet Blast.
What was that card?
It was +2/+0.
There was a card from M13. It was
Trumpet Blast just gives +2/+0.
Yeah, it's +2/+0 and haste. There was a card that
Does Trumpet Blast give haste?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 mana, +2/+0 and haste. I think.
Oh, I didn't think it gave haste.
I think it.
Okay.
I think there's a card from M13. I don't remember. I think it gave something Mountain Walking +2/+2.
Yeah, it was an enchantment though. It was an aura.
Yeah,
+2/+2 Mountain Walk. That was pretty. It was pretty good. It was better than this.
Yeah, but I mean, this is essentially a similar type of card as in
Mountain
Trample.
Walk is a type of evasion.
Yeah, well, I mean, Trample they still get damage in either way.
Yeah,
but most likely.
Unlike Sure Strike, the First Strike gave it the ability to actually kill something in combat and not die most of the time, Whereas this, it can get over it, but it still has a chance to end up dead.
Yeah. it's almost there, but not really.
I still think Sure Strike's better.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got Alpha Protector, which is 2 and a white, 1/4 Vigilance. Vigilance, and it is an ally, so the Vigilance is very relevant in limited, just because it makes it a lot harder to race.
Yeah. What is it?
You can't really race a thing with Vigilance very well.
What is it he's stabbing on the card? Is that like a worm?
It's an Eldrazi, I think. And yeah, the 4 toughness is relevant because it's a great blocker. It doesn't tap when it attacks. It's an ally, so Cohort is there, so it can attack in and not get blocked, and then tap with something to activate Cohort.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so what's the next one?
Corpse Churn. 1 in a black, instant. Put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then you may return a creature from your graveyard to your hand. It's It's good in the green black deck.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of reanimator type stuff. I mean, put stuff from your graveyard into your hand, kind of effects in that deck that are played in that deck.
I mean, this could actually be something with. It's not really in the. It's not in the draft, but I mean, this goes well with Delve, I guess.
Yeah, it does. It does go well in standard with Delve.
Yeah. I mean, because it's getting 3 into your graveyard. Well, technically only 2 into your graveyard, because if it mills a creature, then you get that back in your hand.
Yeah, not to mention you might even have a creature already in your graveyard that you want to get back, and you don't mind throwing away 3 cards.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a good enough creature, you might want to do that if you don't have the mana for your other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But overall, not too bad of a card.
No. Okay, next we have Canopy Gorger, which is 4 and 2 green, 6/5, and it's just a vanilla 6 mana 6/5, which is.
It really makes
solid.
sense to have one more toughness, though.
Yeah, I really want it to be a 6/5, but I mean a 6/6, but it still blocks and kills almost everything. You know, it still kills a rune processor, still kills a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, it does its job, but it's a really solid creature.
But I gotta say, the art does not make that look so terrifying. I think Armada Worm looks scarier than that. Because Armada Worm is just like bursting out of the ground, and this is just, like climbing over things.
Okay. Sky Scourer. It's a 1 and a black for a devoid 1/2. It has flying, and whenever you cast a colorless spell, it gets +1/+0 until the end of the turn. And this, I mean, it's got a solid body for a flyer. 2 mana 1/2 isn't bad, and it can get pumped. It can get bigger. So it's I would play it. I would play it in any blue black devoid deck.
It's definitely an improvement over Mist Intruder, I think. Definitely. I mean,
Which
you don't get an
which
ingest.
one's Mist Intruder?
The 2-drop 1/2 flyer with ingest. I think it's definitely an improvement.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it is an improvement, but like you said, without ingest. So it's give and take.
I mean, there's not much that does anything with ingest in this anyways. So.
Yeah, there's nothing with ingest in this set. Okay. Bonesaw. It's a 0 mana equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0, and the equip cost is 1. Really good with the. I mean, there's several different equipment in this set. There's at least 5 or 6 different equipments, and there are some cards that have abilities based on how many equipment you have on your creatures. So, like Weapons Trainer, gives +1/+0 to all of your other creatures for each equipment that's attached to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really get it.
The 0 mana is really worth it.
How can bone go through a tree?
Bonesaw. Well,
how can bone cut through a tree? If anyone doesn't understand, that's what the art is. It's the bone saw cutting through a tree.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It's a hard bone. It's a. I don't know. Okay. Gravity Negator. It is a 3 and a blue, 2/3 with devoid and flying, and whenever Gravity Negator attacks, you may pay colorless, and if you do, another target creature gains flying until the end of the turn. Now, flying is one of the most relevant abilities in limited.
Yeah, it's always going to be
any kind of evasion is exactly what you want. So this card is really, really good.
And like we said last time, blue-white flyers normally does well every time it's
Yeah, and even blue-black is pretty big in this format. And there's a lot of things that you would want to give flying. I mean, imagine giving a rune processor flying.
Oh my gosh. You're just hitting in for...
Right, yeah. You
all
just
that
gained,
damage.
You just gained 5 life last turn because you casted it and triggered it. And then now you're giving it flying.
You give that flying and then you're like, haha, undo rising. I just gained 7 life
and
too.
4 mana 2/3 is another... I mean, it's good stats for a flyer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely the best thing I've seen so far, I think.
Yeah. Cinder Hellion. It is a 4 and a red, 4/4 trample. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to target opponent. Once again, a solid body, deals 2 damage when it comes in. That alone, if you're late enough in the game, you can play this to kill somebody. You know.
The only downside to this I see is it doesn't have haste. Where normally Hellions are, like quick.
Yeah,
and
Hellions are quick and then they get sacrificed at the end, or they're quick and then
this is like
else.
It just sits there.
Yeah, they tried to make up for that with the 2 damage thing.
Yeah, it pokes somebody and then it's so afraid to attack them it waits a turn.
And then we got Holdout Settlement, which is it's a land. It has tap to add a colorless mana to your mana pool, or tap an untapped creature you control and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool.
I didn't like this. I took it I had 3 of them last night, and
it's just too slow.
Yeah,
it's just too slow. It does fix for colorless. So if you need colorless sources, then this is a good maybe middle to late pick.
Yeah,
for you.
It's a good colorless source, but I wouldn't count on it for mana of any color, because tapping an untapped creature just prevents that much damage from getting through, which could be a whole nother turn. Yeah, and in this format especially, games can turn around just like that. On a dime, they can turn around. One turn you're gonna win, the next turn you've lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you need that other color, you might actually be tapping this and tapping a creature to make it, Yeah. If you're short a color, this could fix the mana. It's a little slower.
It all depends.
If
you're running sort of a faster deck, I wouldn't take this just because it sets you behind. But if you're like a mid to late game deck, then it's fine.
It's fine. Okay, now we're on to our uncommons. Okay, we've got Weapons Trainer, which is a red and a white for a 3/2 ally. Other creatures you control get +1/+0 as long as you control an equipment. So this is a good thing to pick up if you like take stuff like that Bone Saw and stuff like that. Like it's a build around card. You have to build a deck to kind of support it.
Yeah, granted there aren't the best equipment in this set, but at least there are some that are okay enough. Like Bone Saw gives an extra power for literally 1 mana. You cast the equipment for free and then attach it for 1 mana.
And then that happens to pump your whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We've got Cliffhaven Vampire. It's a 2 and a white and a black. 2/4 flying ally. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses a life. And this fits perfectly in the black-white ally deck, which is what it's for, I think.
Yeah.
The stats are good. 2/4 for 4 is good. And imagine this with Colostria healers. You've got allies with cohort that drain. And there's just so much that you can do with it in that kind of a deck. You kind of have to focus on that kind of a deck if you're going to pick this up.
Yeah, imagine this guy's on the field, and then you have a Colostria healer on the field. Mm-hmm. The second the Colostria healer will trigger, so that gains you a life, and they lose a life. Well, whenever you gain life, they lose another life. So you'll gain 1, and they'll lose 2.
Yeah, exactly. And there's even more allies that were printed in this set that drain them or to gain new life. Yeah. So there's a lot more potential in cards like this now.
Not to mention he's one of the bigger ones in a way at the lower levels, like not rare and stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's a 2/4, he'll be able to block really
blocks
much.
Well. He attacks well.
Yeah, he blocks a lot of the things in the set.
Yeah, he does. There's not much that can get through it,
Other than that, worm we just talked about.
Worm, but even then it doesn't go over. The trample doesn't.
Yeah.
Roll over. Okay. We have Baloth Pup. It is a 1 and a green, 3/1. Baloth Pup has trample as long as it has 1/1 counter on it. This is obviously good with support. The mechanic that distributes 1/1 counters for however much support it is. Like support 2 would distribute 2 1/1 counters.
Yeah.
The green-white decks love cards like this, especially the ally decks.
Yeah, it's cheap enough to play by itself for just, a quick 3 damage.
Yeah, it's a fast creature. It's got the same starting out stats as the Core Castigator from the previous set.
Yeah.
2 mana 3/1 is good, and it's fast enough.
Yeah. And it's I love the art on this card. It's stomping a whole bunch of like frogs.
Is it? Oh, it is.
It's stomping a lot of. I don't know if it's frogs exactly, but it's
Looks
stomping.
like it's running through them.
Yeah, it looks like it's just having fun stomping.
It says
things.
a young Baloth channels its energy into playful destructiveness. Over time, it becomes less playful and no less destructive.
Playful destructiveness?
Yeah, and that's exactly what it's doing. It's playing and it's killing these frogs.
And then it's like, I'm not having fun. I'm still going to kill things, though. Alright, so what is our rare, Tyler?
Our rare is Corrupted Crossroads. It taps for a colorless mana, and you can tap it and pay a life and add 1 of any color. So it is good mana fixing, especially if you're in colorless already.
But also, you can only use the mana to cast a Devoid spell for the mana of any color.
Oh, can you?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that text.
Yeah, it says spend this mana only to cast a spell with Devoid.
Well, it still mana fixes. It kind of only goes in a few specific decks.
Yeah.
Not really first pickable.
But a lot of things in this set are a Devoid, so
yeah, so
it makes sense to have it in this, but it's
Mm-hmm.
a City of Brass that taps for colorless, but only can be used to cast colorless stuff. So
a little more awkward City of Brass.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay,
that's the pack, right?
Yeah, that's the pack. Why don't you go first?
I don't know what my first pick will be. I think it would be that Gravity Negator, because giving things flying and having flying itself just makes so much more sense to pick.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, because flyers in general are high up on the first pick list, and something like that can make even the bigger things have flying is incredible.
Yeah, and for me, it would be the Cliffhaven Vampire, and that's just because I know I could build around it, and the ability is really relevant, and the stats are a little bit better than that blue spell. It's a 4 mana 2/4 instead of a 4 mana 2/3, so it survives more, and I could easily build around it.
Yeah. So, what I wanted to do for the rest of the podcast, I wanted to go through. We still have our decks together. I wanted to go through and talk about what our highlights were, and how the deck performed overall, and what sort of archetype we went into. In some cases, yeah. In some cases, what is an archetype? But I'll go first. So I went and drafted Jeskai. I happened to pick up a Crush the Tentacles in the second pack that I opened. So I'm like, yeah, this is going to happen. But the first few picks I started with were a green-red 3/3, or a green and a red for a 3/3, and you could pay a colorless and
a green and a red.
A green and a red to give it +1/+1 and trample. So I'm like, yeah, I'll pick that first. The very next pack I get past, it has the card in the middle, Storm Chaser Mage. And I don't really recommend passing that card. It's a blue and a red for a 1/3 human wizard with flying, haste, and prowess.
Yeah, and
everything you want.
Those 3 abilities on one card is just really good.
I mean, so I picked that up, so I'm like, yeah, maybe I can go a Teamer route, right? And then the very next pack, I get past a Reflector Mage, which is a generic, a white and a blue for a 2/3 human wizard, that when it enters, you return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand, and that creature's owner can't cast spells with the same name as that creature until your next turn.
Yeah.
So
arguably the best uncommon in the set.
Yes. I don't think there's even a contest with another card for the best uncommon. That's got to be the best
Grasp
right
is
there.
pretty good, but it's
Grasp is that 4-mana exile target creature, right?
Two black minus target creature gets -4/-4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Grasp of Darkness.
Grasp of Darkness and Reflective Edge. That's. I guess it's either what you feel.
Yeah.
Type of decks you like to draft or whatever, but
yeah.
Anyway, so those 3 picks, I couldn't really decide which one to go in, so I just decided to go Jeskai just because I like the Storm Chaser Mage and the Reflector Mage more, and ended up getting Crush of Tentacles and picking up Gideon's Reproach, getting 2 Isolation Zones, and a Clutch of Currents.
Mm-hmm.
I'll explain what Isolation Zone does because it's a brand new card. It's 2 generic mana and 2 white for an enchantment.
Mm-hmm.
When it enters, you can exile a target creature or enchantment an opponent controls until Isolation Zone leaves the battlefield. So, essentially, it's like Oblivion Ring for 4 mana.
It's Oblivion Ring-ish, and it doesn't hit a non-land permanent.
Yeah.
It's an enchantment or a creature. So it's less than an Oblivion Ring. But
Did Stasis Snare just hit?
It's a Stasis Snare just hits a creature, but it has flash. So
Yeah.
it's 3 mana, exile a creature.
Instant speed.
Yeah. So they're all good for their own reasons.
Yeah, this isn't the worst. I mean, it gets an enchantment, which a lot of things can't do.
Mm-hmm.
So, like that, if someone happens to pick up 4 of those Hedron alignment cards and somehow wants to win the game through that,
it's just not going to happen. They're going to scry with it.
Yeah, that's all that they can do.
I mean, that ability is relevant.
We can't even target it. It has hexproof.
Yeah, but you can scry with it.
Yeah.
So that it is more relevant than say a Prism Array.
Yeah. Definitely a lot more relevant than that card.
It's not comparable to Prism Array. It's like one step above.
I'm gonna encase you in ice, but then I have to tap all 5 colors to scry something.
Yeah, exactly.
Fun. Okay. Some of the experiences I had with the deck, though, are kind of. It was on the first round in the second game. It took so long because we were just going back and forth, me and my opponent. We were down to like 5 minutes left in the round, and I had him at 2 life. And then that card, Ondu Rising.
Oh yeah.
Just took over.
Best
he gained
awakened spell in battle.
He gained 7 life, and that basically put the game out of hand.
It turns the game completely around. It does.
Yeah.
It turns it completely on its head.
I really had barely any creatures to start with, so I can't, keep adding creatures to the board because I technically don't have that many. So I don't have a way to win, so I just okay. Yeah, it's over. But anyways, that's my draft deck. I went 0 and 2.
And then you dropped.
0 and 2 and dropped.
So technically 0 and 3.
Yeah.
It's okay. I didn't do much better.
So it wasn't. It was an all right deck. It just didn't happen to do that well. Right. I didn't draw what I needed and everything. But Tyler, I'll have you talk about yours now.
Mine didn't work out at all. I started with an Endbringer, started going into black, then because I was drafting a removal like this Tar Snare and Oblivion Strike, which is 4 mana, exiles target creature, and things like that. And then I went into blue because I figured black blue Devoid was kind of cool, and I could go into it. And then I screwed everything up when I started taking. I started taking white cards, and then I also picked up some green cards, and you can see how this didn't work out. Anyways, so yeah, I ended up playing 3 well, technically 4-color deck because I wanted to play the Endbringer, and I really should have only been in 2, and so I the first game the mana actually worked out, but it just didn't go far enough, and I won one of the games with Jwar Isle, that 5 mana 3/3 with Surge for 3 with flying, right? I ended up surging it. It's like Jwar Isle Avenger or something like that. I ended up surging it a lot of the time, so I got it out there for 3. It was a 3 mana 3/3 effectively, and that card actually won me a game because I got 2 of them out plus a Courier Griffin, and I raced him out basically. But most of the other games just didn't work out. I mean, the second round I got a bye, which was good. That means I won 1 round because I didn't get to play. Yeah, there it is. But anyways, and the third game, the mana just didn't work out because I tried to go 4 colors. So I really had a bad day yesterday.
Yeah, neither of us did really that well, but nonetheless, we had some great experiences with the set. I mean, what was your favorite thing about the set for your first draft?
There's a lot more removal to work with, and that's one of my favorite things to do.
Didn't you say yesterday your whole like 3-drop slot was just like removal?
I had 7 3. Well, okay, let's count. I had 2 reflector mages. I had 2 tar snares. I had 3 sweepaways. So that's 7 3-drop removal spells plus a royal spout and a sheer drop, which were technically 3-drop removal spells, but I'm the kind of person where I wouldn't cast them for 3. I would only cast them for 6.
Yeah. You really don't want to go behind on.
They're really not worth. I mean, in an emergency situation, they're worth paying 3 for.
Yeah,
but
unless
you really want to cast them for their awaken.
Yeah. Plus, it's only 3 turns away for sheer drop if you draw a land every turn to awaken.
Yeah, most of the time you're gonna end up with more than 3 mana. By the time it's relevant, you're gonna have 6 mana.
Yeah. So you didn't like your deck at all?
No, I tried to go 4 colors and also drafted green. So it doesn't work. 5 colors doesn't work.
Yeah. Like I said, my deck it just didn't pop off right. For the first round, I don't think I shuffled enough, even though I was shuffling for 10 minutes. My arms were hurting. I was shuffling
so much. You over-shuffled?
My arms were hurting.
You might have shuffled too much.
Yeah. Maybe.
You might have shuffled too much.
Yeah, table shuffle, then pile shuffle, then table shuffle again, then, riffle shuffle, and all kinds of shuffling. My favorite part of the draft, though, was seeing the new Oath cards, though, because I saw Oath of Gideon, and I'm like, maybe I could take that.
Oath of Jace wheeled all the way. It was forced on my table. We were on different tables, and Oath of Jace, it wheeled the whole way.
Nice.
It got forced to somebody.
So there was a guy in our pod. It was kind of funny because he's like, "Oh, foil Nissa," and everyone's kind of like, "Yeah, right." It's like, you can't open a foil Nissa. And he's like, really look. And he shows everyone at the table. And holy crap, it's foil Nissa. So, in the pack before, he was like, I don't need this plant token. Here, take it. Oh, I don't need this land. Take it. And the next pack he opens, it's foil Nissa. And like, give me my plant back.
Yeah.
So, that was kind of funny. But the best thing about that draft was seeing the new cards. Being that since the spoiler episode that we had, I hadn't seen many of the cards anyways. So that was the first time I'd really taken a really in-depth look at them. And this set's going to be fun to draft.
Yeah.
Next
time I'm not going to draft 4 colors.
You mean tonight you're not going to draft 4 colors?
Yeah, tonight we're going to draft again.
Yeah, we're going to be doing another draft. But until next time, thank you guys all for watching. You can follow me on Facebook at ShyGuy768, and also on Twitter at ShyGuy768. Also, subscribe to me on YouTube at ShyGuy768. If you're watching the video, then you should already be seeing the subscribe button underneath the video. It's big in red. You can see it. Push it, please. And Tyler, what are your social media?
My YouTube is The Edge 452. Twitter is Tyler A Hill 452. No, Tyler A Hill 7918. Yeah. Twitch is Tyler A Hill 452. All my names are different. All his are the same.
I will post them all on the video. You should be seeing them right now.
Also, if you head over to my YouTube, The Edge 452, I have them all the links on my page.
All right. But until we meet again, may you all draw well, but most of all, have fun, because this is a game after all, and we'll see you guys next week.